Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Grand Theft Auto Online, which I know it's been a while, but I do still play this game pretty frequently. So I just had some thoughts on my mind that I wanted to share about kind of the whole overarching state of Grand Theft Auto Online, but also more specifically the newest update. So basically, obviously we see that Grand Theft Auto Online is the beloved child of Rockstar / Take-Two Interactive, and Red Dead Online is more like the redheaded stepchild, because at the same time that they completely abandoned Red Dead Online and said that they're going to be putting all their work into Grand Theft Auto 6, they also did, I wouldn't say a huge content update, but a pretty big quality of life update for Grand Theft Auto Online, which I would say actually indicates that they're willing to put more work into it, because content updates make money. Adding in new cars and new properties and things like that people are going to want to buy, that they're going to want to spend real money on shark cards for, that is the way that you make more money with a game. But the value of life updates, they might not make any money. They might not bring any new players to the game. They probably almost certainly won't have anyone buying new shark cards. So I would say that the quality of life updates are actually a better sign of the support for a game than content updates. Which, you know, if you compare that to Red Dead Online, we got neither. And so in a nutshell, I would say that most of this update is pretty dang good. The most obvious one being the fact that you can now make deliveries in private invite-only lobbies, so it actually makes most of the other businesses in the game playable and somewhat worth having. So I've got all of the biker businesses. I've got a meth lab, I've got a cocaine place, I got a marijuana place, a counterfeit place. Never ever used them. Like, I shouldn't say never, but, you know, did a couple missions here and there when I was first getting into it, when the update was new, when the biker update was new, that is. And, but since then, pretty much never did it because, A, the missions are poorly designed, especially when you take, like, the counterfeit ones where they'll give you 3 trucks where you have to do, like, 5 individual deliveries with each truck. So doing them by yourself is basically impossible anyway. But, the whole point was, it didn't matter anyway, because most lobbies are full of hackers or griefers, and trying to do any sort of a delivery mission for those was never worth it, because you'd spend hours getting the supply train ready, you know, getting the amount full up so it's actually worth doing a delivery mission, and then you start it off and they just harass you and destroy your stuff over and over again anyway. Basically nobody did those missions. It was super rare to ever see anyone start one of those missions in a public server, because everyone knew that if you tried doing that, griefers and hackers were just going to go after you no matter what. And so basically this new update makes it so all of the older content is quite a bit more worth doing. Import, export, like I said, all the motorcycle club businesses, everything. They made it so that it's actually kind of fun to do those missions again, because you can do them in, you know, private lobbies. And I think Rockstar hates how much people prefer to play in their private lobbies. And the reason I think this is twofold. For one thing, the fact that they never added the option to Red Dead Online to have invite-only or private lobbies in there. So I wouldn't be surprised if in future games for both Grand Theft Auto 6 and anything else that they just won't exist at all. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But on top of that, for a long time they were tuning Grand Theft Auto Online to be the same way, so that everything had to be done in public servers. You couldn't make money other than that. And that all kind of changed with the Cayo Perico update, which brings me to the next point that I wanted to make in this video, and it's probably the most talked about aspect of the most recent update on Grand Theft Auto Online, and it's the Cayo Perico nerfs. And so there's a lot of stuff going on with it, but in a nutshell, it nerfs Cayo Perico as a whole, because it adds a big old cooldown timer to it that I shouldn't say adds, because it had one, but it lengthens it by a lot. So it nerfs it a little bit for everyone, because they're trying to get you to play the other content, which is why they updated it to make it so you could do it in invite-only lobbies. But it mostly targets people who like to play the game by themselves. So the cooldown timer for doing Cayo Perico, if you do it solo, is 72 in-game hours. So it's 3 in-game days, which equates to almost 3 hours of real time. So definitely slows it down. You used to be able to crank out, like, if you came online for 2 or 3 hours, which is probably average playtime for someone like me who plays pretty casually, like they work during the day and then come home and play the game, 2 or 3 hours is probably about max that you've got in you. But here you can only, if you do it solo, you can only do Cayo Perico once in that amount of time. So they definitely nerfed the crap out of that. And now, of course, my opinion, being a little bit more cynical of gaming developers, is that it's just to sell shark cards. There's a more charitable opinion there that I'll talk about, but I am fairly certain that it's just a way so that they could sell shark cards. Because ever since Cayo Perico came out, all you needed was to make like $8 or $9 million to get the submarine, and then you could nonstop make, anywhere between $1 and $10 million really easily every single day in a casual play session, all by yourself. You didn't have to have a posse, you didn't have to have any big online friend group to play with. You could just do it by yourself and make enough money that you never felt tempted to buy shark card. So that's why Cayo Perico was such a good update in my opinion. Now obviously the more charitable definition of why they nerfed Cayo Perico is just to promote their other stuff. So they were adding all these value of life updates, including allowing you to do all of them in invite only lobbies, and they also added some new missions and stuff that you could do. So the more charitable suggestion for why they nerfed Cayo Perico is just to promote more varied gameplay. And I could see that, given that they've put quite a bit of time and effort into the more charitable way, does make sense. Because if they're going to put all that time into these new updates, including hiring Dr. Dre to voice act in them, it makes sense that they're going to try to get you to play them instead of just grinding Cayo Perico nonstop. So as far as the nerf goes, like I said, it's a big timer, but also they added an algorithmic change to how you get your main prize. Basically, if you get either of the high value targets, the necklace or the pink diamond, you're much less likely to get that for the next 72 in-game hours. So if you play the game again, and if you do it with a crew, the cooldown timer isn't as long. I think it's only one in-game day. So if you do it with a crew, you can do Cayo Perico more often, but like I said, if you've played it and you get the high value target, you're less likely to get that, so you're just going to get the Sinsemito tequila. But they also tweaked it so that your secondary targets are going to be more high value, so you're going to find more cocaine and paintings and stuff like that. So it's not a terrible change. I think it works out for the best. If I was going to change it, I would say I would have done it basically backwards. I would have changed it so since they made it that you can't play it as often, I would have made it so if you got a low value target, then you would be less likely to get a low value target in the next 72 hours. That way, if you play it and you get the Sinsemito tequila, you wouldn't have to worry about the next time you play it 3 in-game days later, it being the Sinsemito tequila again. That makes more sense to me. If you're going to let us play it less frequently, then you should change it so that at least we get the high value targets more frequently. But that's just me. Outside of that, they did add some cool new stuff that I actually kind of enjoy. If you go to your clubhouse for your motorcycle gang, they've added, if you have the custom auto shop in there, they've added customization and delivery missions just like the auto shop from the tuners update. So you can fix up bikes and deliver them. So it's kind of the same sort of thing. So if you haven't been able to get the auto shop for the tuners update, but you do have a clubhouse, you can now do similar missions to that. And they have a decent payout. They also have like reputation and delivery missions where you can go pick up alcohol basically, and your clubhouse will start serving it, so it'll build you up a daily income, which I think is a fun value of life update. The missions aren't anything terrifically fun, and the static income isn't anything ridiculous, but like I said, it doesn't hurt anything, so it's a pretty cool change. Another one they did was kind of random missions at your nightclub property. Basically, my experience has been every time I enter there, I get a text from the person to either go throw out a drunk person or help someone that passed out make it to the hospital or whatever. I really like these missions because they totally have replaced the reputation missions for me with the nightclub. So basically, your nightclub property can actually make decent daily income, anywhere between $50,000 and $100,000. Like, you can make solid money as long as your nightclub's popularity is high enough. And I never liked having to go back there and do the popularity missions to go promote the club and everything. So now when I go back there to just manage all my various motorcycle club businesses, because I have them all linked there so I can do the deliveries that way, quickly throw a drunk patron out of there or help someone who's sick or passed out or whatever get to the hospital, and then boom, my popularity is all the way back up. That was definitely a good change, one that I really enjoyed. Another change that we got was with the warehouses for import and export. Basically, for your cargo warehouse, you can hire a person there who you can pay $7,500 to source a random cargo piece. So basically, you can just do that every time you go there and do those deliveries. It just makes it a bit more passive for import and export. And it can be anywhere between 1 crate and 3 crates, but it definitely changed the way that I play the game. I think overall it's a pretty good update. Like I said, doesn't really add a whole lot of new content, added like some new versions of some of the cars that already existed in the game. Nothing that was interesting enough for me to want to get it. And mostly just balanced out a lot of the older content to make it kind of more worth playing in 2022, basically. Now, when you get on, you won't be able to depend on Cayo Perico to make as much money, but it's more enjoyable to do a lot of the older side side content, and or I should say a lot of the older content, just in general, because everything in Grand Theft Auto Online is side content. It makes it worth that, and also makes it so you can do it all in an invite-only lobby. Since this update happened, I haven't popped into a public lobby once. I've played the entire time in invite-only lobbies, so just a couple times with my friends, but most of the time by myself. So it's a pretty solid update. I don't love the Cayo Perico nerf, but I do understand it. It makes sense to me, and I really like the value of life changes that all got switched around. So that's my opinion on this most recent update and the current state of Grand Theft Auto Online in August of 2022. If you've got any thoughts on the subject, if you play this game or if you don't play it and you think that anyone who does is a complete moron, why don't you go ahead and let me know down in the comments section. But that's all for today, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.